All right, week 8, first look. I know a lot of chaos has happened at quarterback and just throughout the week. I haven't even really looked at projections or honestly the games on the slate. So I'm going to do like a quick overview, kind of talk about my early leans, early player pool. Um, so I have, let's see, the DraftKings lobby up. I'm just going to go through the games here. We have Minnesota at Atlanta in a dome. I don't think I have the team totals up. I can pull those up actually. That's going to be a little bit better. So Minnesota at Atlanta. Minnesota is going to be starting Hall, backup quarterback, and then Atlanta is going to be starting Heineke. I expect this game to be low scoring. I believe the total is 37. Disgusting. Atlanta with a 20.5 implied total. Vikings with a 16.5 implied total. Seattle at Baltimore. I hate Seattle, and that's a bias. I'm just way below market on Seattle. It's kind of laughable to me that they're 5-2. But let's take a look here. Seattle with a 19.5 implied team total, and the Ravens with a 24.5 implied team total. So Ravens have one of the higher team totals on the slate. That'll be interesting to look at. Zay's kind of like sucked, but Mark Andrews and Lamar have dominated, and Gus Edwards has dominated. Let's see, Arizona at Cleveland. I believe Arizona is going to be starting Clayton Tune. I don't think Kyler's playing, but I need to check that. And I believe PJ Walker. I don't know, actually. It's still really early, obviously. Haven't done my homework here. So do we even have totals for this? I do not see totals. I think it's because we're waiting on quarterback news here. Rams at Green Bay, possibly a crazy snow, bad weather game, and also is Matt Stafford playing? I don't know. This is another low gross total, 38. Tampa Bay at Houston in a dome. I guess it's technically retractable. That's why they have this little cloud. Maybe a bounce back spot for Houston or Houston's passing game. Also waiting on some Baker news. I think Baker is going to play though. This is another low total, 38. What is going on? Washington at New England, Mac Jones versus Sam Howell. Sam Howell's been balling. So I think Eric Bieniemy is great for fantasy. I know Ron Rivera is not, but hopefully he does nothing here. This is a 40 total. Could be bad weather as well in New England. I know Pop Douglas is going to be popular without even looking at the projections with all the New England injuries. And I guess Ramondre is going to rate okay, but I think I only really have interest in maybe some Commanders receivers here. We have Chicago at New Orleans in a dome. I can see this getting pretty popular. I can see the Kamara, Carr, Olave, even Taysom Hill stacks, being popular against Chicago. Awful, 32nd ranked D line, 31st ranked D line. Yeah, so they have a 24.5 implied team total. The Saints do, and then it's a 41 total overall. And I think Chicago's starting Bajent again. Their running back by committee is a cluster. DJ Moore is kind of interesting. Curious to see what he's priced at. Colts at Carolina. I like this game. I like Minshew. That's a bias that I have. I think Minshew, Pittman, Minshew, Downs, even a Minshew double, maybe. They do run a lot. Is interesting. Also, is Jonathan Taylor's ankle hurts? I think it is, but I don't know what the market thinks. I don't know if I'm actually right or wrong here. Giants. Well, I don't have access. Actually, no. Yeah, the pace. This is going to rate up as a high pace in Thorman's like snaps and pace article. Yeah, this is a 45 total, which surprisingly is one of the highest on the slate. And both of the teams are over 21 team total. So definitely, I hate Thielen, but Chuba Hubbard basically is now the starter over Sanders. So Chuba Hubbard's probably going to rate well. Again, I haven't really looked at anything at all. Giants at Vegas. Now we have Aiden O'Connell starting. Now we have a new coach. My theory is new coaches play it safe and run the ball like too much. And I think the market's gonna have some positive projection on Josh Jacobs. My guess is it's not going to be high enough. And so I'm going to add my own bias here and be like, especially like a linebacker player coach, I think they're going to run like way more than you would think. So I'm sure Josh Jacobs is going to be popular, but I don't know. I have to look at the projections. And then the Giants are starting maybe Daniel Jones. I don't know. Probably waiting on that as well. I think this is a low total 38. What is going on? But yeah, I think Devontae, like an Aiden O'Connell, Devontae, Josh Jacobs is actually interesting. You can definitely run the score up on the Giants, not like the Jets did. But maybe one or the other is a way to play this game. I'm not sure. Maybe fading it. I don't know. And then this is the game of the week by far. Afternoon slate. There's only 3 games in the afternoon window. Yikes. These are like the better ones as well. Cowboys at Philly, just 2 stout defenses, particularly in Dallas, and then really good offenses, especially Philly. Let's look at this total here. This is a 46 total, which I believe is the second highest or highest on the slate. I think it's the second highest on the slate. Both teams coming in over 21. Really curious to see what the prices look like here. It looks like Hertz is 8,000. So, I mean, we're coming up on like 5 or 6 weeks in a row where the optimal QB is a $5,000 QB. And I know you don't have to be right and be perfect and have the optimal in like smaller field, especially like the higher stakes, smaller field stuff. And it almost makes more sense to take the safer, easier, correlated. Like I've been running like Philly triples, not even Philly doubles, but like Philly triples. And like it sucks because it eats up all my salary. But man, that's like I'm getting a pretty good price per dollar return still. And I'm just getting a pretty good just raw points total. So let's hop into the projections here. I've done enough rambling, and then maybe it can build a lineup. I'm not going to use the solver here. Okay, so pulling up ETR. I'll start with the quarterback tab. I normally don't. I normally like to start at the receiver and tight end and try to figure out some games and stacks, but the slate's ugly. Off the bat, I like Garnu Minshew, as mentioned before. I like Jalen Hurts, even though he has a really tough matchup and his knees definitely hurt. I like Sam Howell. Seems riskier than not necessarily because of the matchup and the weather, which those are risky. I just don't know one how much they're going to be pushed by New England. I think that's going to be underrated, and I just don't know if I can play multiple commanders. Like I have no problem with Terry McLaurin. I think he's a great play. Even Jahan Dotson, even Logan Thomas, but like maybe a skinny stack with Hal. And then Aiden O'Connell. Okay, so Aiden O'Connell's rating out as the highest value. I think an Aiden O'Connell triple is interesting. I think a lot of people are going to Galaxy Brain this week. They're going to say Josh Jacobs, whatever. Or like they're going to say, oh, leverage off Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. And like, I don't know how many people are going to play triples. And depending on how expensive these pieces are, that could be kind of cool. Not sure I want to play any Giants. So yeah, first look, Aiden O'Connell. I guess I like Jaron Hall as well. Like a Jaron Hall skinny to Hawkinson is interesting. So Aiden O'Connell, Jaron Hall, Sam Howell. Heineke's kind of interesting at 5,000. It's crazy how, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, Heineke would probably rate a lot better if it wasn't for freaking Jaron Hall and Aiden O'Connell. I guess these guys can fail though. So it is kind of like good leverage to play a different cheap quarterback. And then all the expensive guys here, Lamar Jackson, rating out as the 3rd worst value. And I don't know why Toon rates out this badly. I guess it's Cleveland's D, and I don't get how Toon can rate out that poorly, but Yeah, so I still like Jalen Hurts. I think we're waiting on Stafford's health. Let's jump into running backs here. I'm guessing it's going to be Jacobs toward the top. Okay, it's Jacobs way at the top. I actually am even heavier than this. This kind of upsets me here. 40% small field ownership. I was actually going to say I like Bijan as well. Listening to the Swolecast, they were really on Bijan. I think a Bijan bring back makes a lot of sense. Check downs from Heineke, maybe playing from behind, maybe playing from ahead, but against, I mean, both of these defenses are pretty bad, Atlanta and Minnesota. Chuba just seems risky. I think people are going to like the matchup against the Colts here. I even think he's risky at 5,000 though, because they just suck and they don't score many touchdowns. And like Miles Sanders did lose a lot of work, but like how sticky is that? I don't know. Kamara seems way too expensive. So I'll probably fade there. I'm on a negative Kamara bias here, and I've been basically wrong for 3 to 4 weeks in a row since he's returned. I just Saints have had some cupcake matchups, and I think he's like ran really hot, and I don't think he's that good, and so I will continue to fade Kamara. JT, I want to see his health. It's kind of funny to me that Pollard rates out this well. I had Pollard in my early build. Okay, yeah. So I was saying this earlier. Ramondre, I think I said pop. I don't know. I said some receiver from New England. This kind of surprises me that he rates out this well, but I need to go look at the splits again. I'm always worried about the Ezekiel Elliott splits, even though I shouldn't be. I mean, even though he shouldn't play as much, but he does. I'd be interested in Ford if Hunt was out. Rashad White like loses work every week, but it's against the Texans, and like he just catches so many balls. I'm definitely gonna play a piece of this Eagles Dallas game. So Swift's always gonna be in my player pool, as are AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert. I'm telling you right now, I'm playing at least one of those guys. Gus Edwards, I guess he just kind of like what he did last week's not sustainable, so he's not rating out well. DeMarcado had really, really good usage last week, but he's hurt right now. Does anyone else stand out here? I think someone's going to emerge from the Chicago backfield. And I think someone is going to emerge from this Rams backfield, but I don't know. I would play Zach Moss if I thought JT was hurt, but I would want the market to like not know that, which seems really hard. So let's go to receiver. Our boy Pop Douglas, definitely not going to play him. And he's definitely coming in as the highest owned receiver. I'm probably going to just fade this game. I bet it's going to be ugly. I mean, Washington did just fire sale some of their defense, so maybe I would play Ramondre. I think Ramondre is the only Patriot I would play. Wandale, I think I'd only want to play if I game stacked. Like I talked about the Aiden O'Connell double with Jacobs and Devontae. I can see a Wandale as a really good bring back. Daniel Jones actually likes Wandale quite a bit as well, not just Tyrod Taylor. I don't even know who the other guy is, DeVito. Okay, so we have McLaurin Douglas. That's going to be a super popular skinny. I think I'm just going to be off of that game, or I'll play Ramondre as some leverage there. Wow, Thielen's 7,500. No, thank you. They just won't raise the price on Zay. I could play it, I guess. This seems like a tight slate for pricing, just looking at it so far. I mean, I haven't really looked at it, but let's see who else stands out. Nico and Tank just got dusted last week. AJ Brown is interesting, as always. Definitely as a one-off as well. He can just get there. Olave, I'm probably only playing if I stack that game, but I just can't play Carr, I don't think. Devontae Adams, I thought he would rate out better. His prices, I guess he just had such a bad like month that his projections has dropped a lot. I mean, there's there's no value at receiver. There's 5 receivers in the green. This is disgusting. Who would I play down here? I like Cup, unless the weather's atrocious. I like CD. Wow, he's 8,200. I still like him. I like Pittman. What is Downs cost? Downs is 5,200. So Pittman didn't really get a bump. I like Pittman here at 6,600. I think he's on the Baglioni model, and if he's not, I'm just gonna say he is. Anyone down here that I like? Jalen Hylett did nothing last week. We'll kind of wait on some injury news and report back there. Let's look at tight end. I'm guessing tight end is going to be a dumpster fire. Okay, we have no values as usual at tight end. There's my boy Logan Thomas. Njoku balled out last week. Scored his first touchdown of the year. Let's see. Goddard's still pretty cheap. Man, Hawkinson's 5,200. That's pretty interesting as a one-off or paired with Jalen Hall or Hull. I liked Andrews. He's not rating out too well. What about Michael Mayer? Is he on here? Michael Mayer, 2,800. That may just be a nice punt if we need salary if I'm going to play the O'Connell. Got a Raiders triple after they fire their coach. It's kind of interesting, but yikes. I think I'm going to wait and see on tight end on like kind of who I want to stack. I'll probably play it correlated. And then defense, I don't really care too much about the values or projections for defense. I care about salary. I care about ownership. I care about, oh my gosh, 40% owned Patriots D against Howe. What? If anything, I would play Washington D against Mac Jones. And it's somehow leverage. What? I guess leverage also is playing like Chicago D against Aiden O'Connell, but I like cheap. I like low owned, or just, it's not even low owned. I like just not the highest owned if it's like 30% plus. And then I also like against bad quarterback. So let's go through this here. And I also it's just too hard to afford these. I think you just give up too much projection elsewhere, and there's too much randomness and volatility in the scoring. So like, I could play the Eagles at 3,400. I could play the Raiders at 3,600. I don't think I want to spend more than that though. Like, I know Falcons is pretty attractive against a freaking backup QB. But that's so expensive. Saints against Bajent is interesting. But let's look at 3K and under. So 3K. Okay, 3,100. We got the Colts against Carolina. That's interesting to me. Bryce Young kind of stinks. Texans against Baker. Baker sucks, so that qualifies. Can't play Patriots at 40%. Packers potentially against a backup is something to watch at 2,800. Cardinals potentially against a backup is interesting to watch at 2,700. Rams against Jordan Love. There's a ton of viable. I'm honestly probably going to play like anything. I'm probably not going to play the Seahawks against Lamar, even though like they can turn it over. I'm probably going to play 2,300 to let's say 3,300, and I'll probably try to get some expensive pieces in there like AJ Brown or Cooper Kupp. That's probably what I'm going to do for the start of the slate. Should we try to build a lineup? Sure. Let's try to build a lineup that I'm probably not going to enter just looking at. So let's try this Aiden O'Connell double here. I thought he was 4,800. He's 4,500. This is incredible. Let's do the Wandale bring back. So we're going to play Devonta Adams. We're going to play Wandale. I actually think O'Connell likes Mayer. So we could even, this is like a small field play. We could definitely go, what was I going to say? We could go Mayer as well, but let's go Jacobs. So I said earlier that I like the Bijan Hawkinson mini. Let's just throw it in there. I don't know if we have any money, but let's just pretend. Defense, I kind of like the Packers against the backup Rams. They seem to be in disarray. Or the Rams against, and it's at Green Bay against Jordan Love. Let's go Rams. I can even punt more if I need to. This gives me a decent feel for what I have remaining. Looking at the receiver tab, sorting by value, there are only 5 that ranked out as value here. And they are Pop Douglas, Terry McLaurin, which I said I was fading both, Wandale, which I have in my lineup, Adam Thielen, which I said I was fading, and then Zay Flowers. God, Zay just feels disgusting, but let's try Zay. That leaves us some Puka Nakua. I want to play a piece from the Dallas game. I want to get up to CeeDee Lamb. What does that leave us? Dust. And if not CeeDee, I want to get to like Tony Pollard here. Let's see if we can get Tony Pollard in our flex and what that looks like. Can we get to like a Devonta Smith? Chris Olave is kind of interesting. He had 15 targets 2 weeks ago, and they're in a dome. I don't hate Chris Olave here. Finish out. I mean, there's no correlation. Pollard one-off. Oh, this lineup's kind of gross. I think I like Pollard more with like an AJ Brown bring back or something. I don't know how popular that game's going to be because these are expensive pieces. Let's see if I can go to Michael Mayer instead of Hawkinson. Let me see if I can get off Devontae. So let's go to Michael Mayer to punt here. Let me just try some other options here. So let's try either I can play AJ Brown or Devonta Swift is kind of, or DeAndre Swift. Oh, this is perfect. Oh my gosh. This is going to be probably played. Aiden O'Connell to Michael Mayer, rookie to rookie. I think this 6-target game was when they had, it may have been this 4-target game actually. It was when O'Connell played, or maybe that was Hoyer. That was Hoyer. That was Jimmy G. And then like this was O'Connell, the 3. Or this, I'm not sure. Aiden O'Connell to Michael Mayer with a Josh Jacobs, with a Wandale, just game stack. What's the Q tag? Knee, he's just icing the ACL. He's okay. He's coming off 1 target. Oh my God. He did get 2 rushes though. AJ Brown Alpha, CeeDee Lamb Alpha Mini. Why is Tony Pollard also in this lineup? Pittman's interesting here. Yeah, you can do a bunch. You can do a bunch of stuff. Oh, Packers D against the backup QB, maybe. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to do another one of these Saturday. Thanks for watching. Go team.